You can't remember times before WhatsApps and messages, can you?
Yeah, of course I can. I can
How did we
remember
communicate then to meet up
landline,
before landline
pigeon,
or letters?
telegram. I can remember Dad getting his first mobile phone.
Right,
I have a very vivid memory of it. Actually,
right.
we were at the top of Pendle Hill
All right,
in the snow. He didn't buy it from the top of Pendle Hill. He had it with him in a holster.
right. In a holster.
Yeah, he had like a little holster you clip to your belt.
You joke.
No, no, everybody did, Jez.
No, I didn't.
You had a utility belt for your job. You know, to put your biscuits in and your tea bags and.
And they paid you.
Gordon, Gordon, send Morehouse to save the house.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lowerhouse Cricket Club's podcast, the Housecast. Well over 110 episodes now. We've got a new start to the program where we all sing. We only pod when we're winning, pod when we're winning. But no one else wants to join in. I don't think they really understand it. But anyway,
I'm not
welcome to the
comfortable,
podcast.
Jez.
And what's happened?
I would immediately feel uncomfortable singing,
Would you?
despite my
Well, you've got
background.
the best voice of the three people who are so far on.
Well, I don't know. Joe's of Italian heritage, so he'll be operatic, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah, and on What For Do, there's a good song on that he sings.
Mm.
Oh, does he not? Is it about him?
Yeah,
Or is it
I'm,
It's about
I'm not on
Joe.
it. Yeah, I'm not on it.
Sung by me.
Oh, right, okay. Give us a rendition of it now.
No, that's so awful.
No chance.
No chance.
Okay, then. So, everybody, 2 episodes in space of 10 days. We really had to get this episode on. There were a few people available, few not. Gav's out. I can't remember what he was saying he was doing. I think he was polishing his wheel hubs or something. And he's going to
he's
come on.
walking dog, innit?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's walking the dog.
Walking dog.
Yeah. And we've got hopefully two guests that are going to come on after last weekend's monumental effort by the whole team, and in particular one of the players. And we're going to have a good chat with him as we go through. So anyway, Dooch, we haven't had a chat together yet. Me and Joe just had a bit of banter. You okay?
Good, yeah. We need to very quickly address the inaccuracies in last week's episode. I've had a lot of challenge this week about stuff that was said primarily about Joe saying he'd never been involved in a hat trick before.
Oh, yeah.
Two people very, very upset who had got hat tricks while Joe was wicket keeping that he'd obviously completely forgot. So that's the first inaccuracy, and the second one was an editing error. Last week, I said last week when we were talking about the Worsley Cup that we'd never beat Ramsbottom until last year.
Right.
You remember me saying that, don't you?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the edit, it's been cut, that last bit's been cut off, and it just sounds like I say we've never beat Ramsbottom in the Worsley Cup. I sound like a right numpty.
And I did hear a whisper that Joe Martin and Adam Hope conspired to do that to try and
to make me sound daft. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
No.
Well, someone needed to.
And anyway, we're going
of course, we beat Ramsbottom last year in the Worsley Cup. Of course, we did.
Which we all knew.
Yeah.
And remembered at the time.
We were going to have a new feature, like a new section where it's called. We get some jingles along the lines of "Dooch's inaccurate facts."
No, I could just drop one in and see if the listeners can spot it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
very
Good
nice.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
very
come back
nice.
with a real fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
At Middleton at weekend, they were all going mental about you, Dooch, but I stuck up for you and said, look, he would not say that. He knows too much about the game.
Editing error.
He's a first team. Yeah, editing error, yeah. Conspiracy.
And also, just I know we played Middleton last weekend, which was a feat of one of Joe Beneducci's incredible fielding displays. That's true, isn't it?
Talk us through it. Talk us through it.
I can't really remember the game because I was under the impression that we'd won, but I don't think we did apparently.
Right. What happened?
So we played Middleton.
Right.
Joe Beneducci was involved in a run out.
All right.
He'd obviously
not as a batter.
Not as a batter, but he got 60 odd in the game.
Okay.
Ducci's looking at me as though I've got no idea what you're talking about. But anyway,
No, it was a second 11 game. I'm looking at you,
Yeah,
wondering how you know this because you wouldn't have been there.
no, I know, but I know this because I can remember Aggers telling the story. So Ducci was involved in a run out, fantastic run out by all accounts. I don't know any more detail than that, but it was amazing. To which later on in the innings, a ball gets hit out to Joe Beneducci. They start to set off, and then they stop, and the batter goes, "No, he's there!" Pointing at Dooch because he's an imperious fielder. No, he's there!
Oh, he later got sectioned.
But that's true, isn't it, Joe? That happened.
It did, yeah.
Exactly as I said.
So, special episode this week. We are looking at the first team getting back into form. It was good to see, albeit it was quite windy, but it was good to see a little bit of sun around with a bit of blue sky. And the game at Middleton away. So I'll come to you first, Joe Martin. We normally do this. Your thoughts and your aspirations on the way to the ground?
We wanted to put in a very solid performance, which was, a good batting display, a good bowling display, and a good fielding display, as is a given with any kind of cricket.
Okay.
We'd played well the week before that, so we wanted to carry on that form into this game, and we think that we thought that we could do it, so that was great.
Good. Just a serious note though, I went to have a look at the pitch at half time. It's quality, that, wasn't it? It's quality how the outfield looked well, and considering the conditions we've had, credit to the Middleton for preparing not just the wicket but the rest of the pitch. It was
always a good wicket in Middleton.
It was good to see. So we won the toss.
No, we didn't.
Middleton won the toss.
We lost the toss.
Yeah, I'm just clarifying it.
Oh, yeah.
Middleton won the toss and decided to field. So our two openers go out to bat, and the two openers are the guests on tonight's show. So welcome, Jonny Whitehead. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm very well, Jez. Thank you for asking. Very well.
Good. You look like you're in a local hostelry.
I am, I'm at a works function down in Bristol. I've been here for a couple of nights, hence why I wasn't able to attend training. I'm not sure what the weather is like up there, but is it wet? Yeah, it is like that down here as well. But yeah, I'm back first thing in the morning. So yeah, we have basically our quarterly social. Hopefully, there's no background noise that you can hear. But down here in sunny in wet Bristol for a couple of nights, Jez.
Bristol. Oh, it's good. Thanks very much for dialing in, Jonny.
No problem.
We'll come on to the actual stats and the game.
Just a bit of a heads up as well, Jez. Not to interrupt, but the last episode I did a couple of weeks back, Stanny, Paul Stansfield, provided me with some feedback, and he specifically said, "Jonny, you have gone boring." With a few expletives chucked in there as well. So I'm going to deliberately make sure that I'm entertaining as possible tonight and make sure I'm back to my normal, usual self, clowning around, if that's all right, Jez.
Absolutely, 100%. The spectators love it. But let me introduce the other guest first, and then we can we can come back to the Johnny show. So we'll introduce the captain and the record breaker in his own right. Such a great servant to Lowerhouse. Been there since he was a wee lad. Ben Heap, welcome, Ben. How are you doing?
Evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm doing very well, thanks, Jez.
Good. So weekend, what a performance! Win the toss. Sorry, they win the toss.
Joe Beneducci alternative fact again.
That's right. Yeah,
we've never won the toss.
The inserters. So Francois and Ben have been opening for the last few games. That's it, to the settled order of the day. Francois, as we know, he's tied up quite a few Saturdays with other commitments around the school life. So was it an easy choice, Ben? Is it something you planned previously that you would be opening with Johnny when Francois not available?
Yeah, very easy choice, Jez. Me and Johnny opened the batting together on a lot of occasions before, during Charlie's tenure. So yeah, we have a good understanding out there, and good chemistry. So yeah, just a natural progression and one place up for Johnny. Yeah,
and that's what you look at it. There's the other maybe youngish lads that could have a go, but it's not at that stage. It's to do the best performances we can. So I'll stick with you, Ben. So you've gone out to bat. I think you were listening when I was just chatting earlier. The pitch looked great. I look at half time. It looked good from the out, from a distance, and it obviously put a lot of work in. Did you have any? Bearing in mind, let's not beat about the bush. You put on 186, the pair of you for the first wicket. Did you have a strategy to be more positive than you normally are, or was it a case of play as you normally do with your normal plan and see how it progresses?
There certainly was a message before I went out there that you'd never got enough on this ground and on this track, because we've been beaten there before with a score of 230, 240, something like that. We got beat there a couple of years ago, batting first. And not only is it a good batting deck, it's a big field as well. So there's lots of gaps, lots of twos, lots of threes that that perhaps you don't get at Lowerhouse. And we came foul of that in that game that I was talking about when we got beat, trying to defend those pockets where there's lots of twos and threes. So yeah, there was a clear message that not to relax if we're going well, and we go out there and we get as many as we can.
And you could see, you both look comfortable. And then Muggs Middleton, some good bowlers there that started off, but you never appeared to be in any trouble. So over to you, Johnny. Your thoughts going out? Did you feel there were a big one on the cards for you? Or, was it a case of, let's have a look at the first 5, first 10, and then we'll see where we are? How did you feel?
Absolutely that. I would say it was definitely the same approach that I try to take in any innings. I do remember Ben specifically saying at the start of the day around kind of our approach and how we should go about this, considering we're batting first and putting a total on the board, because he believed that through experience at Middleton, it's a difficult ground to defend on because there are plenty of gaps, like he says, where the Middleton are a good side for pushing ones and twos. And with having Price, he's probably a batsman renowned for scoring runs. We knew that we had a task on our hands to put a good total on the board. So yes, there was always a mindset of being positive, but I would always like to say that me and Ben are positive anyway in the way we go about our innings. Yeah. If we aren't positive, then there's probably something up, whether it be a wicket issue or whether we're out of form or whatever. Usually we are people who like to consider ourselves as positive batters. And, in answer to your direct question, it was just a case of, we approached it like we always do. And that's how we did it. And I think I firmly believe that our first 50 part, the 50 opening stand was a very steady start. It wasn't something that happened quickly, relatively quickly or quicker than other opening stands that we've had. But we did find a way to kick on, and Ben certainly went accelerated really at one point where he accelerated to 30 relatively quickly, well ahead of his strike rate, and we kind of just that built momentum and we got going from there.
It did, and it was You didn't look in any trouble. Yeah, like you said, you got the 50 wasn't off 3 overs or anything, but you didn't look in any trouble. I think that's fair to say. And then it just seemed to kick on. And then, I mean, I was with Joe Martin quite a bit, Joe, but before we went for walks around the pitch, the players in the dressing room, did they suspect there was going to be any fireworks or any, the records that were actually broken?
Ben will probably come on to this a bit later, but when he broke the batting record in 2017, in 2017, that record had stood for a very, very long time. So you expect, especially our batters, Ben and Johnny and Salpy and Tom Walker, and to bat extremely well because they're great players. You potentially don't expect them to get, you don't expect someone to get over 150, I don't think. Even though they're well capable of doing it, but so we always expect them to do really well, but probably not quite as well as they did this weekend, which was remarkable.
Right.
To see.
Yeah, and it's once you get past that 50, and my thoughts on it for Ben and Johnny as I was watching the side, the heads seemed to go quite quickly. You got that 50, and then you just really mastered it. And I think there was a couple of big overs, and I mean, what Joe Martin's like, he's chatting to their fielders for fun, and they genuinely seemed fed up. And you two just took over. I genuinely, when you were in, Ben, with Johnny, and I've not seen hitting like that or controlled hitting. There were no slogging. There were no pros playing ridiculous shots. They were all proper cricket shots. And it was quite phenomenal getting up to 100 and, over 100 partnership. And I just had a gut feeling that there's big score on here. I just thought, there's plenty to go. So Price doesn't bowl that often. So what were your thoughts, Ben, when they brought him on? Did you have any concern? They brought him on as 4th change, 5th change.
Yeah, you're right.
No, he doesn't normally bowl.
No, he doesn't bowl much these days. He did when he first came over. He used to open the bowling for Cone and for Middleton when I've played against him. A little bit sharper in those days. Not quick, but a bit sharper. And he just, the first couple of overs, he just got it to hold up in the wind more than anything, and just a little bit of wobble. So the first couple of overs, he was difficult to rotate against, yeah. But unfortunately, I fell to him trying to get a single down to 3rd man and chops on.
Yeah, I saw that, and they looked more surprised than anyone else. It was similar when later in the day that was it was almost a shock. You're looking that easy, and that's a sign when the spectators are not cheering and jumping up and down. There's still a long way to go, and 186, for one, and then Tom Walker's coming in, who can get on with it. Your thoughts then, Johnny? Were you about 80, 90 then, I think, when Ben was out?
I was on 99 when Ben got out.
Right, I didn't realise that. Right, okay.
Or in the 90s. I was definitely in the 90s.
Yeah. And your thoughts there? Did you think, right, we're going to have to change this a little bit? Because Tom can get on with it, and the pro can get on with it. You were just content, keep going.
Yeah, by that point, yeah. A bit disappointed, but a bit gutted really with Ben getting out, because we were cruising, weren't we? Let's be honest. And even me and Ben, when me and Ben are in that rhythm and we're doing what we do, it really, the last time I feel that we had that kind of experience was probably Clitheroe in the final. We're both in the zone and we are hitting runs and building a good partnership, and we just both enjoy it, and we both know what we're doing, and we both know our jobs, and we just keep going, and we very little talking really when we come to meeting in the middle. So when Tom came in, it was kind of just, and again, as you can probably appreciate, Jay, it's the first season I've had playing with Tom, so actually I'm still getting used to kind of understanding him as a player, as a batsman, understanding his way of scoring and playing. And it was just very small talk, and do what you do, Tom. This is what it's doing. This is what the ball's doing. This is what the wicket's doing. Do your thing. I'm here to support. don't worry about me kind of thing. And that was it really.
Yeah, and he will listen, and he's a great, he's a great cricketer and will be even better. So the pros come out there, and then it has got a little bit. I think Joe's decided to go back to the dressing room, and I've just wanted to sit back and watch it and enjoy it. Great to back with him, I guess, Johnny. Certainly that situation.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's been brilliant for me in particular as Selby since coming in to the club. Spent a lot of time with me during the week. In terms of just helping me out with batting, and a lot of it really is thinking or actually not thinking about the sport. But just everything about him and his entire demeanour and the way he go about it is brilliant. He really is the definition of playing without fear. Like some of the shots he played, considering he'd just come in at 4 halfway through an inning. I mean, he came in with something like 30 or 25 overs left. There's so much time to actually still build an innings, but he came in like there was 5 overs left. And again, like you say, Jez, like you alluded to earlier, there were no slogging. There were proper shots, but he was just creative, backing across, using the crease, moving his feet. So there was no change in run rate. You obviously have a belief in a partner being there where you could alternate strike and still build a solid partnership. And it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And he's not, whilst he will be still talking to you and everything, but subconsciously he's taking a bit of pressure off you as well. You're literally 120, as you say, loads of overs to go, and you just know he could go mental at any stage. We're playing ridiculous shots like he does in a T20.
Yeah, and I also think just on that point, it's what he says to you in the middle as well when it's at the end of the over, or even he's coming down to me like in during the over if I hit a boundary or if he got a gap where he could come and speak to me. The stuff he's saying, he refers a lot to something called currency, and what he means by currency is that when you go into an innings and you start an innings, you build an innings, your currency is very low, so you're quite reserved, and then your currency goes up as you soak up a lot of balls, get your eye in, start to play shots, etc. And obviously, me being on 120, currency is quite high, and he started bringing up currency. And it's funny; it's a funny way of doing it, but it made sense to me because it's what we've been speaking about during the week. So it was just we had a laugh, and if anything, we were laughing. We were laughing in the middle, and it was great.
Yeah, no, that's it's good to hear, and as we've said, they'd gone then, they'd completely gone, and he's not about the game. Yeah, crikey, Price can get probably 200. He probably could do that, but they'd all gone completely. So mentally, Johnny, how were you when you get into towards that 120, 130, and then you race to 140 odd in no time? How were you mentally before I ask you about how you were physically? We know you're mental. Yeah. We know you're mental, but how were you mentally?
I can't remember. Jez, I can't remember. It just happened. I got to 120 to 140. It just happened. Now I'm in the zone. I'm under the lid, and everyone knows me as a clown and clowning around. But to be fair, they also know me when I bat. I like to be in the zone and I concentrate, and it's a little bit of a different side of me. And I was just in the zone, and everything was flowing. And Selby was there to support that, and I genuinely can't remember, so I can't really answer that question. It was just the ball, and as you saw it, Jez, yourself. I weren't going after every ball, but as the 3 figures came up, the ball did seem bigger and things were flowing. Yeah. Confidence was high, and I just played my shots, and it runs flowed.
Yeah, there were a couple of chances, but that's that's part and parcel of the game. That happens, and I don't think anyone can begrudge the actual, the total you actually got because of those chances. Because in spite of those, the ones that you hit cleanly were either going, they were drilled through the gaps, extra cover, or if you pulled it, or the one straight, they were going for 6. So there was absolute pleasure to watch. Obviously, Ben, for the listeners who don't know, Ben did hold a record for the most runs for Lowerhouse amateur ever, as Joe Martin alluded to, in probably 7 years ago, just less, against Great Hardboard. Any thoughts, Ben, when he's getting there? I know you're the type of lad that's not going to say, I hope he gets out, or instruct someone to run him out. But what was going through your mind? Because you will have known about that record.
Yeah, I knew he was approaching it. I knew when he got to 150, he'd be chasing that down pretty soonish. Bit of a surreal feeling, really, Jez, if I'm honest. I mean, we're all human, aren't we? So human nature, taking the emotion of your friends being in that position, human nature would want your record to stand for as long as possible. But I was pretty happy to be there, and it was a pleasure to be a part of. And I'm just glad that it's one of my mates, and it's someone who works hard on their own game, and is a Lowerhouser as well. He's one of us, you know what I mean? So, I spoke a few words after the game, and it really came from the heart that I was, happy to be there. It was a pleasure to see, fantastic knock. And given the length of time that it took for Tommy Shutt's record to be broken, for that to happen again and be broken again in my lifetime, all the players and spectators and myself should have felt very privileged to watch such an amazing innings.
Yeah, area. And I don't think it's home. I was with Joe Martin and other people. You don't really realise what you're watching. I know Johnny's just said it himself when I asked him about his mental state. You're just in a place, just enjoying the moment, whether you're watching it or you're actually competing in it. So you're so right there, Ben. It is something that we will all look back on and think, crikey, what a knock. Johnny, to you, were you getting tired at all? You didn't appear to be. There were a couple of times with a bit of stretch of a leg, and I wondered if a bit of cramp were coming in. How did you feel physically?
Felt absolutely fine. I think it helped knowing the conditions. The temperature wasn't particularly hot. It was very windy. If anything, it was the wind that was probably tiring me out, if anything. But I felt fine. I've batted through. I have managed to bat through 50 overs before, luckily. So yeah, it's something that I felt okay with.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was a pleasure to watch. Did you understand, or did you know around the figures and the actual the Lowerhouse batting record? And I mean, the partnership you both put on together was the third highest for Lowerhouse. There were two ridiculous ones previously, and they both included a pro. So it's the highest both amateur partnership for Lowerhouse. Then you beat Ben's record, and then you ultimately beat the league record for the highest amateur score in a 50-over game. Did you know anything about those last two records or not?
I honestly can't remember during the innings. I remember speaking to Ben when we were batting about, because of the way we were going and the way we were scoring runs. There was a particular manner, I would say, the way me and Ben were scoring runs at the weekend. And I remember asking him at the middle whether a drinks break or what. And I said, by the way, Ben, what is the record? What's the opening record? And he mentioned about the fact that it was Finchy and Ryan Harris. And I remember it being something over 200. And I thought that was on the cards. I did think that was on the cards. And when Ben got out, records just left my mind for, that was that. And then I remember getting into like 150, and my highest score prior to the innings on Saturday was 151. So when I surpassed that, I was like, oh, cracking, highest score. And then I remember getting to like 160 region, and I remember hitting Pricey for a couple of boundaries in consecutive balls. And through doing that, I obviously approached to 170. And then it sunk in again. And then I ran a single that took me past 175, and there was a cheer from the fans. And that's when it straight away clicked that I'd done what I'd done.
Yeah.
And then Ben, as a proper captain, as a supporting friend, stood up on the boundary edge and said, Johnny, make sure you get to 183. He had to repeat himself because of the wind. I couldn't hear naff all.
Yeah, beat 183, I said, yeah.
Beat 183, and then that's when I realised what he were meaning. I didn't know who it was. Who had it. And yeah, I felt great. There was no, there was no thoughts going through. I thought, I'm going to get out here, because everything was just on a roll. I felt on a roll. I felt, top of the world, as you probably would. And it happened. It just happened. Surreal moment. Very, very special.
so that takes you up to there's a few times around on cricket fields we'll all have been there where people are, well, I've heard this, I've heard that. People are getting messages. There's still I mean, I can't remember, but does anyone on this call remember how many overs were left when Johnny was out?
I think there was 5 left.
Yeah, so there's at least 5 overs left there, and you've done it. The word got around quite quickly that 183 was a previous amateur record by Graham Knowles, and you've gone past that a bit. It's a bit of a canter, and I really expected you to carry on. They've gone completely, and it was a real surreal moment when you were actually out. It was quite bizarre. The ground went quiet. It was like it's like the biggest shock going. You appeared, you were content. You looked a little bit tired as you were coming off, but then the applause started. Did that sink in at that time? Can you remember what your reaction was?
No. Sorry.
Then can't remember it at all.
Honestly, Jez, I can't. Yeah, it's been that surreal. I definitely when I got out, I was like, oh bloody hell, because it was I got bowled, and you don't really get bowled, do you, if you're on a 190, let's be honest, and 189, and I got bowled, and I thought, all right, it's over with, and then I walked off, and then it just didn't, it hasn't, it still hasn't sunk in, to be honest, Jez. It just hasn't. It's been a very emotional, crazy few days. I've got to be honest. To be totally transparent, it's been a very crazy few days.
No, I bet, and it is for all for you. I know you've had some starring roles on some BBC productions, and I hope that those went well. But it's there now, Johnny. It's there forever. We can remember it and think about that, and it's a fantastic achievement. So, Graham Knowles got 183. That was at Rottenstall. I don't know if that counts as 183 at Rottenstall, but and then Andrew Payne was behind him. I don't know if he was.
Jesse wasn't pro. Navida Reid.
Right, so he's amateur. So Payne had 182 prior to that. So you've gone past them at 189. I'm not sure. Will it be broken? Who knows? As time goes on, I'm sure they're there to be broken. But what a fantastic achievement, and congratulations, Johnny. Does anyone else want to bring anything up about the actual batting performance there? Some good knocks. Down, 42 off 24 balls. So Henry did a great job, because it's so easy to go in at that stage, and it's almost like after the Lord Mayor's show, and then you lose 3 quick wickets, and you're clearly going to win, but the game's a little bit, out on a limb. Simi did a decent job. So get to 380. Anything from anyone else around the batting before we go on to the actual victory?
Yeah, what I would say is, based on the way we scored those runs, and considering the time that was left when the likes of Ben got out when he got out, and I got out when I got out, and the fact that 380 is also another record that was achieved that day, I think we'll beat that. I think Lowerhouse have it in them in their batting lineup to beat that, definitely. Tom didn't get past 50, more than capable.
Yeah.
And I think that's certainly something that I think we'll be beating again, definitely.
Right, cracker. So I forgot about that. The team score, that was also a record. So you think at some stage 400 is on the right pitch against the
right day on the right pitch, definitely.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that. If you get like we were talking afterwards, some of the young lads, whilst Johnny was batting, about how good the pitch was, and I was just trying to get across to some of our younger players that when Lowerhouse, in my opinion anyway, and obviously I played a lot of years now, when Lowerhouse gets the right weather, it's the fastest outfield in the league with its quirky shape, pockets, the way it runs away. And I truly believe that, and I back what Johnny says there, that on the right day, on the right track at Lowerhouse, don't be surprised to see something just as spectacular. I think doesn't necessarily have to be us two. I just think if you get in at Lowerhouse on the right day, we've all played in games where runs just flow and it's difficult to stop down at Lowerhouse.
Yeah, Yeah. So there you go, listeners. Get down to Lowerhouse. I think you've seen over the last few years we've had a bit of a dodgy start. Then we hit some great form. I think we've hit that form earlier than we normally do. So let's push on. Let's get some spectators down to support the lads and see if that 400 is possible.
But just to finish on the batting, Jez, because you just asked about it, I just want to get across to listeners who weren't at Middleton about how good some of Johnny's hitting actually was. Because we were both pretty neck and neck till we got to 60 or 70, and then Johnny just found another gear. And some of the sixes that he hit were just unbelievable cricket shots, not slogging, but they had their field well spread by this point, as you'd expect. Deep mid wicket, long on. And Johnny, regularly was putting the ball 20, 30 yards over their heads. Just unbelievable hitting, and a pleasure to watch.
It was, and it also, Middleton has that ground. There's a bit of a bowl there. When it comes out in the middle of the bat, you can hear it. It's a proper sound, and a couple of balls smashing into side screens and things. It was a fantastic afternoon. Good to Joe Martin, because he's always the doubting Thomas. Any doubt at half time?
No.
Great, really?
Yeah, not this time. No, I mean they needed 330 for a point, which is it's a lot, isn't it? I mean, it's probably fair to say, Jez. Should we say when we were sat together, we were sat with Johnny's dad, Mark Whitehead, as well, and we had a score. We had a score predictor of what we thought it'd be.
I didn't want to bring this up because Ben, do you know about this?
No, but he could be getting himself into a bit of bother here. But so carry on.
He already is in bother, Ben. We'll bring it up at the weekend. He's renowned, Jez, for making this podcast, when it comes to the summary of the weekend, awful. And me and Ben are on to him.
Right, good. No, you want to, and you've got my permission to do what you want to him. Kit bag with no box on if you want. So we, what were the state of the game, Joe?
Well, Ben and Johnny were still in. There was right. Yeah. There was 25 overs left, I think.
So halfway.
Maybe 20 overs left.
No, it was definitely quite a bit less.
Or maybe 20 overs had gone, Jez.
I have a theory.
Go on.
Well, it's not rocket science. I always think that, if you're going well and the pitch is playing all right, you can at least double your score once you've got past 30 overs.
Yes.
Everyone thinks that. It's not rocket science. And I think there were 21 overs gone.
Yeah.
And after we sat there, freezing cold, the wind's blowing around our ears, and I decided to say, right, let's have a game of guess the score. So we all get a little bit excited. I've got it in my phone still, Joe.
And you did say it was... No, I know. We did say it was freezing cold, but how warm were those seats?
Yeah, they were. The wooden seats were the...
like plastic seats, weren't they?
Change the subject,
right, so cards on the table. I said we'd get 220.
You did. 220.
We must have been on about...
Bob Spencer Martin.
After 20 overs, we must have been on over 100 at least.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, easy.
Mark said 241.
That's £2, is that? That's £2 at weekend, is that?
He actually said 240.
Mark said
Johnny's
240.
dad.
Yeah, and Jez said, do you want to say it, Jez, or shall I?
Oh, you say it, if you can remember.
I can. Jez said 372.
Excellent.
To which me and Mark said, bloody hell, Jez, that's ridiculous.
You bloody idiot.
No one would ever score that. That's absolutely stupid. Don't be daft. Have you seen how big this ground is?
Jez, do you know that Paul Hargreaves and Bob Spencer play this game every week? They do. No, seriously, they do. They have a bet. They have a bet between themselves after 30 overs. What's the total going to be?
And you're in it now. Right. You're in the bet.
And I do join in occasionally. Yeah.
And how far out is it? Is it accurate?
No, Bob's notoriously pessimistic, so he'd have been around the 220 mark with Joe, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It was just gut feelings. It was phenomenal. And I don't, we don't want to put poor Middleton through. There's nothing worse than games like that. And we used to have quite a few of them, where you're never going to get in it. But, I've got to admit I did leave before when they think they were 6 down. You were always going to get the extra bonus points, I think. How did you feel when you were fielding, Johnny? Were you tired and fed up, or were you still elated?
No, absolutely not. We're ready to get them 2 extra points. Yeah. Once my job's done, it is onto the next one, and we knew we had a job in the field, and we're in a very comfortable position and confident position, and Ben was confident with the bowling lineup and who he opened up with, and to be fair to him, we weren't stupid to think that the wicket was a good wicket and the ball came onto the bat, and they went about it. As you know, Jez, you were looking for the ball early on, and through a shot that was hammered down the ground, and they got off to an all right start. But then once we had Pricey out, I just thought, it's lights out. It's time to wrap up now, and we felt good from there. But personally, I felt all right.
Yeah, that's good. Ben, obviously not in any doubt. People aren't going to chase that score down unless 2 of the players get tons in, in the first 35 overs. Really, were you comfortable with it? Are there a lot of encouragement and everyone seemed up for it?
Yeah, pretty comfortable, really, deep down, Jez. But we just keep reminding ourselves that we want to be ruthless. We had 5-6 overs off in the middle where we put a couple of chances down, but overall I thought we were pretty good, and good value for 12 points, definitely.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a good performance. So I'll come back to you Ben in a minute to just talk about the rest of the season and going forward. Dooch, anything to report regarding the cricket side around the seconds? Any startling news, or Joe Martin, that the seconds are struggling a little bit, aren't they? A very young side without that bit of experience. Anything to report there?
The only news really from the second team is we've got a debutant this week. Kiro's not playing, our wicketkeeper, so Joe Masson's making his second team debut. Obviously, the Massons are well known around the club, and Joe's been keeping wicket well in the third team for a while, so he's getting a chance in the seconds this week.
Brilliant. How old is Joe? Not Joe Martin, I meant Joe Masson.
Not sure, Jez.
He'll be
15 or 16.
He's doing his GCSEs, yeah.
Right.
16.
Brilliant. Well, good luck to Joe from all of us. Just all you can do is try your hardest, listen to the senior players, and good luck. So that's good. Anything else to come through for right? Thanks very much, everyone. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you. Hiya, Gav. How's it going? Don't flash V's.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. That's great timing, Gav, because for the benefit of the listeners, it's Gav that's really pushed us to do this podcast. Gav has said, what a phenomenal... We do this by messages to try and get, for the guests and to build up the our thoughts and questions. And Gav's pushed us to get this on because of how phenomenal it was. We've been through it all, Gav, and it was interesting to go through it, how much it means. Certainly Ben has been so honest and so upfront about his record and his feelings, and how much, they're good mates and they've batted together so long, and he's so pleased for Johnny. Johnny's, he's still in a bit of shock, I think, the way he's talking. It's a fantastic achievement. So just tell us what your thoughts were, Gav, when you knew that what had happened and since then.
Well, probably similar to what the lads have said, really, to be honest. It was just, just really chuffed that, someone from the club, come through the junior ranks, and someone from the club's managed to do that. I think it deserves, it deserves recognition. And I think any other club would be shouting from the rooftops. Therefore, I think so should we. I think should be very proud. And I think, his family should be proud, Mark and people like that, they should be proud. But no, it was nice to see. It was nice to see. And more importantly, it was nice for the team to start clicking into form, and everyone scoring runs and everyone bowling well. And look, we're coming too, aren't we? So jobs are good.
Yeah, it seems to be so. And it was. You're right. So we've got it recorded now for futures. But these two lads, Gav, reckon there's 400 on the cards with if they hit the right the right team with the right game at the right pitch. So we've got to keep going down and watching, and let's see that happen. I'll come back to you in a minute, Gav, to see how you've been going on. Ben, just go over to you really now. Can you just talk us through your plans, going through towards the middle of the season? The team are gelling quite well. You've got a very good squad. I know there's, a few people in and out. Charles Ganser had a bit of an injury early on. What's your thoughts going through towards the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot at the moment. We had a tough start, but we had a tough run of fixtures as well. And you need your top 3 or 4 scoring runs in any cricket. You won't win many games at this level if your top 4 aren't scoring runs. And we were just finding our feet with a bit of lack of preparation and coming up against some good bowling attacks early doors. So there were no panic stations from my point of view. We're all good players. I'd like to think our top 4 would probably get in everybody else's team in the division. So it was a matter of time for me. But yeah, we're in a good spot, one game at a time. But more importantly, not that they haven't done in previous seasons, but more importantly, everybody's enjoying being there at the moment and wants to play, wants to train, and wants to do it for each other as well. I'm not saying that hasn't been there in previous years, but it's certainly more prominent, certainly more evident this year.
Yeah, and that's so good to hear when you think of the weather that we've had to start with. It is roll sleeves up time and really graft and get into it. So good luck with that. Let's keep that roll going. There's only 7 games going into that. Correct? We're nowhere near halfway yet. So it's to push that on. And I know you lads will. Last year, the years previously when you've had a dip in form, and we say this all the time on here, it's not because of lack of graft or lack of team spirit. You're always in there together. So good luck with all that. Gav, your thoughts on the?
Yeah, Ben. If I could just ask, so obviously as someone who just watches from the boundary, what sort of impact do you think the pros have? You talk about the change, what you were just talking about then about a slight change perhaps in atmosphere and things like that, and that can happen from year to year, can't it? I mean, we all play. But what sort of difference do you think the pros made to that dynamic and that team? Because this team, there are 1 or 2 few new additions, but large parts everyone sort of knows each other. So I take it the pros made a huge difference, or has he not? Or
he's made a massive difference. I'm not saying I've played with professionals in the past that don't care. Absolutely not. I'm sure they all care. I'm pretty certain of that. But how he articulates that across is very good. He just gets club cricket to the core, really. And he's extremely good at reading individuals. You could sense that straight away. Just let me move the dog's toy.
The dog's toy.
He knows.
No comments.
I think Beneducci's fallen asleep. I think
he's watching England. So probably has.
When you start
talking, the way he understands individuals, you could see that right away. Just to judge a character and how to get the best out of individuals throughout the team. Big characters. He's been a great help, a breath of fresh air. Just understands league cricket as well. The execution part of that we're not always going to pull off, but the plans mid-game and how that evolves. His understanding of the game is brilliant, and the lads are absolutely queuing up to work with him on a Tuesday and Thursday. he's at a stage, Dan, where he knows his own game and doesn't have to do much for his own game, but he takes great pride and enjoyment of working with us and just getting those extra percentages out of us. So yeah, the boys are queuing up to work with him during the week, and he's a competitor and a good bloke as well, and good crack as well. Good crack.
Excellent. Happy days.
It is, yeah, and it's no good question that, because we've all known professionals or known, and they are all different, different animals and the way that they are. But his experience, Ben, you're right, the age he's at, it can only be benefit, and then throw the Aussie into it as well. We're all, they're different around the world. They're different the way that they approach it, and so it's really good to see. Let's hope he carries on and kicks on, because we do need him, and he's so influential. T20 game, Joe Martin. Do you want to ask a few questions around that and talk through that? Because I think you were there.
Yeah, it rained, but we bowled really well. Tom Walker bowled very well first up, fast, proper fast. Probably a little bit uncomfortable for the batters actually. It was a skiddy surface, and that pink bowled hard, and he bowled extremely well. And they ended up getting 120, I think, maybe 130, something like that.
130.
Yeah, we did bowl really well, but the rain was coming, so we needed to get off to a pretty fast start, which Johnny and Salpy did. So it got us over the line in those 5 or 6 overs that we needed to get in, and set us up for the weekend, really. But I will say it was deeply unpleasant, the weather.
Yeah,
it was so cold. The greatest outdoor DJ had to put his kit away. It was that wet.
It was wet or cold? Was it too cold for him?
I think it was both.
Did we have a guest DJ that night?
My spinning fingers had seized up. It was that cold. Couldn't spin. I couldn't scratch the vinyl. It was that cold.
Probably too eager to eat your meat pies, Joe. You probably bit your fingers off.
So the T20 is going well this year. We're. I don't think we've lost a game, have we?
No, we've had a good start. Church and East Lancs. We play Clitheroe this weekend, which will be, which should be a good game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or today.
Yeah.
When
have we recapped the Church T20? But that game's been a real turning point. That was a real team performance on a very difficult pitch. So yeah, that was a turning point, I think, of that feel good factor and doing it for your mates. Yeah.
And you seem to have a full team, as most of the players available for selection for the T20 this year, Ben. Is that a conscious effort, or is people, just change their mind a little bit?
Again, I don't want to suggest in previous years that people weren't enjoying it or enjoying each other's company, because I'm sure they were, otherwise you wouldn't bother in the first place. But it's just more prominent this year, and lads want to be there for each other and enjoying each other's company and want to play. And the pros played a massive part in that. And also Paul Stanley as well. We've got to give him a bit of credit. Come back as manager and doing a thankless task and giving up his weekends when he's got a family at home and stuff. So yeah, just good camaraderie in the camp.
Brilliant.
And the fact that that's come not just because we've won every game. So, there's been some losses along the way is a positive.
Yeah.
Ben, if I could ask a question about that, how have you benefited from Paul coming back into the fold? And, how have you benefited personally from being the captain, from having him back in the fold and, in his experience?
Yeah, no, massively. It's just the small things as well. I've said previously on this podcast, I think that even though I'm captain, I still see my most important role in the side is going out there and facing the first ball of the innings for Lowerhouse. And it just helps me with that more than anything, just being able to concentrate on my batting when I need to. So small things, getting little things organised. It's been a massive help. And tactically during the game as well. I trust him and the pro to tweak anything that needs tweaking with the batting order or whatever. I trust them to make them calls while I'm out there batting. We won't always get it right, but it definitely helps me from a performance point of view.
Excellent.
Yeah, good. It's got to, and it's got to an extra pair of hands there. Some people might think, oh, well, what's he doing with this? But just to take that bit of pressure off you, Ben, and then 3 or 4 decisions a year, it could be the difference between winning and losing the league. So that's great. So we've got Enfield this weekend, I believe, or I hope it is, because I don't see to Enfield this weekend. Yeah, I've Joe Beneducci's stat. We've not beaten Enfield since '73, I think he said. So we'll see if we can make up for that this week. Can you have any team news for us, Ben, or is it under wraps still?
No, it's out there, Jez. Full strength. No Francois Saturday, and then Francois comes in for Sim for Sunday.
Yeah, Rami in the cup on the Saturday the 15th. That's the Ramsbottom that have we not beat him in the cup for a long time, Dooch?
Apart from until last year, we'd not beaten them in the cup ever, which is what I said last week.
So Rami, any thoughts about them, Johnny? Your mate from Southport's playing for them now, isn't he? He's a great, he's a great batter, a good player. The strongest side. What's your thoughts around that, Johnny?
We go again, Jez. Me and Ben go again. That's what I say to that. I do back JJ, to be fair. I do rate JJ very much. Developed as a very, very good cricketer. Certainly a man to get out. I'm not in the know with who their pro is this year. So I'm sure with what they have had track record-wise with pros will be a good one. But definitely a man to get out. I know that what's he called? Alex Alpin is in for. I don't know. Alex Alpin's replacing someone this weekend. I can't remember who it is.
Is York Robinson playing?
No, York Robinson. So Alex Alpin's in for York Robinson. Yeah, so we won't be seeing him, fortunately. But yeah, Jez, it's a case of starting again, rinse and repeat, and I think that's the main kind of approach to this weekend, given that there's 3 big games. 3 big games because Clitheroe have got Friday night, who we know is a great side, and we owe them another win against them in the T20, and then Saturday obviously we want to progress into the semis, and then Sunday we want to maintain the winning streak in the league. So hopefully we can continue the win streak.
Brilliant. Right, well, I'm just going to go over and have a little catch up with Gav. We haven't caught up over the last few weekends and what he's been up to and what he thinks of the weather and the cricket and the football. And then, Johnny, we're going to come back to you before we finish because you've still been extremely sensible. So we need you to tell us one of your funny stories.
Don't do that to me.
Well, you said that you're going to get bollocked off Paul Stanley because you're too sensible.
But can we talk about my dad? All right, then I'll bring up my dad then because he's hilarious and everyone adores my dad and hates me. So we'll just bring up my dad and I'll come up with some funny stories.
You sound like Ian Sheridan then. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous.
I wish that the camera element to this podcast was shown when this podcast goes out so I could do like a really good impression of my dad because that's what's really funny. Really, really funny. Given the weekend that we've just had, that's what's really funny. Okay, but anyway, you move on to Gav, Jez. I'll speak to you in a minute.
All right then. Yeah. Well, it might be some food for thought. Adam's lad Teddy is non-stop listening to the CD of What Folk Do. It's so he wants to listen to all the different tracks all the way through. It's really funny.
It's a fantastic album. It is a great album, isn't it?
It is a great album. It is. It never gets old.
Jez, just on that point, can you remember? There's a lad who says, "Give it a French tickle, Jez. You know you can't resist it." Do you remember who that were?
Of course, I know who it is.
I bet you can't tell me what a French tickle is.
Of course, it is. It's a little French tickle down to third man. Very, very fine. Just make sure it goes past the split. Easy peasy.
As you play blind slips to that, Matt Oakes.
I know. When you get on that, Gary's dad's on it, Harry Brooks is on it, they've left us. What was the reporter called? Edward Lee.
Eddie Lee.
I used to remember it. I used to remember his car being on the grass banking by the white wall. Yeah, I used to remember with a little radio antenna on top of the roof.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Edward Lee from Radio Lancashire. Oh God.
Brilliant. What an hour. We want to re-release that. I was chatting to your dad on Saturday about it. We need to get a remixed version of it. Remixed, edit quite a bit out.
We've certainly added to the history.
Yeah, definitely. So how's it been going the last couple of weeks, Gav? I haven't caught up with you for a pint. You've been up to much? Watched any cricket?
Yeah, I've been about. I've been down club not last weekend, weekend before I was down for a pint, I think. But this weekend, I had a good weekend. Been following it from afar. Went to a wedding Saturday, and then me and Marquis, we went down to London on Sunday to the O2 to watch. Well, we went down to London on the Sunday, and then we watched Liam Gallagher on the Monday. So this weekend, I'm following the games from afar. So yeah, but I'll be down Sunday for the game, and then the England game after. So, well, that's if the weather bloody books up. But yeah.
Good lad. I wanted to come on to the Euros, Gav. I've always loved, I'm not there this Sunday, but I've always loved watching the England games with you. We've had some really good times if you think back.
Well, when we used to them, we're at 10 or 15 quid all you can drink.
Yeah, drink as much as you can, and then we'd all get fed up because England would get kicked out, and Gav would end up storming off home, sulking, and he had a white tin hat with a red St George's flag on top of his hat. You could see it bobbing up and down Lowerhouse Lane as he walked home. Quality. So I'm going to wrap it up soon. It's nearly bedtime. Jonny Whitehead, anything from you before we wrap all this up?
What's the arrangement on Sunday in regard to the opening football campaign for England? Are we calling off a bit of the boundary edge for the TV on the ground?
Germany, Johnny. It's in Germany. They generally have a load of fireworks and things in the stadium.
What is the Euros?
You won't get a ticket now.
I mean, we've already had an episode where not at first team can go back to Clubhouse for some shitty function, but yet, we're now selling tickets for a shitty football game that no one cares about. So
I don't think UK were in the Europe thing anymore anyway. Jez.
I agree.
No, we left Brexit.
Muros.
Yeah, we left Brexit.
Muros, is it? Muros.
But Johnny, I've been down club tonight, and there's a marquee up outside the clubhouse, but it's not on the grass, if you will. So I think that's
have you thrown Strombo over that, Ben, or?
Don't bring that up to Jez. I'll get a bollocking. Oh no, it weren't Jez.
On a serious note, Jez, what I honestly would like to say is a huge thank you to everyone that's made the effort to congratulate me and praise me on the weekend. It's been overwhelming. It's been very special for me and the family, and I'm sure it will be for a very long time. Thanks to Ben and the team. They've been incredibly supportive. And yeah, it's been a surreal few days, and it will probably continue. And I'm actually looking forward to the weekend where it's a case of that kind of probably starting to sink in and starting again. And yeah, thanks to everyone again for everything.
Good. You're welcome, Johnny. You deserve it. It's a massive achievement. So thanks for that. I'll go round. I'll go to my favourite co-host. Not my favourite, but it's one that we do it all the time. Joe Martin, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Just congratulations to Johnny on a fantastic batting display and breaking a record. It was amazing when Ben did it the first time, breaking the Lowerhouse record, and the same for Johnny. So very special day. So I'm glad they could enjoy it.
Good lad, well done, Joe. We'll finish off with you, Ben, last, but we'll do Gav before that, and then Joe Beneducci. So, Gav, anything you want to say before? I know you've only just come on. You've been out. You've been busy working. Anything you want to add before we finish?
Just echo what Joe said just then, really, to be honest. Congratulations again to Johnny, and should be very proud. And yeah, just we'll go again this weekend, and hopefully we can build on the last couple of weeks where we've been playing better cricket, and yeah, just go from strength to strength. And
right, brilliant. Gav or Joe Martin, is there anything else on any more gossip we need to know about the new two new committee members that are on? With Gracie and Sam, are they still causing mayhem?
We haven't had any meetings, so it's.
I didn't know there was a committee.
Front.
I thought there was just one person. Was it not Uncle? Is it not Uncle Stan's committee? Is it not? It's just Stan, isn't it? Just Stan.
Yeah.
Stan, MBE, Eton, Cricket Club.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's what it is. But there is a couple of people that have tried to get a democracy in place where other people have a say. And Gracie is so funny how he tries to get involved with it. So we need to get that lad on here. He comes out with some corkers, and if I missed him, but if he hasn't had any meetings, but he don't need a meeting to drop a clog in, don't Gracie. But Dooch, over to you before we finish off with Ben. Anything you want to add before we finish this podcast?
I just really hope someone gets 190 this weekend. I'm fed up of hearing about it now, to be honest. Josh Tolley, maybe. Hopefully Josh Tolley gets 190 this weekend. That'll do for me.
You, Matt, on golf course, Dooch.
Proper captain. As his players back, you know what I mean?
you know what I mean. Ben, anything before I finish it?
No, thanks for having us on.
Right.
It's been
Brilliant.
Good crack. And we're in a good spot now. We're playing some good cricket, and nothing's won in May, is it? So,
exactly.
We will there'll be little hiccups along the way, but I think we're playing exciting cricket and get down and watch.
Yeah, good shout. So thanks to you both. I know it's a training night tonight. The weather's put pay to that, but no, thanks very much for giving up an hour or so to come on. I know the spectators love listening to the players and what they feel about the game and how it's going. And again, Johnny, from everyone at the club, it was a pleasure to watch. Congratulations, well done. And I hope no one breaks it. I hope no one breaks it unless it's one of our players later on this season, even if it's you. So thanks everyone for listening. We will continue to do podcasts, at least once every fortnight through the summer, maybe once a week if we keep winning. And thank you all for your comments. Please drop any lines or drop any suggestions and get your mates to listen and get us back up with them charts. So thanks everyone for listening and goodbye.
Gordon, send Morehouse to save the house.